It was a quiet night in 1992 when the chilling events began to unfold, events that would seal the fate of Celeste Carrington, a janitor turned cold-blooded killer. A woman of seemingly unremarkable stature, she harbored a deadly intent that would shock her community and etch her name into the annals of crime. Beneath the surface of her ordinary life was a desperate need for money, a cunning mind, and a capacity for violence that few had anticipated. Celeste Carrington worked as a janitor for a cleaning company, servicing various office buildings in the Bay Area of California. Her job gave her access to spaces and people who had no reason to distrust her. By all accounts, she was just another employee trying to make ends meet. But behind the mop and cleaning supplies, Carrington harbored growing frustrations. Struggling financially, she began stealing from the offices she cleaned. These petty thefts soon escalated into something far darker. The crime started with burglary, but her desperation soon turned lethal. Armed with a .380 caliber semi-automatic pistol, Carrington entered the premises of the offices she was supposed to clean and took lives without hesitation. Her first known murder occurred in January 1992. She shot Victor Esparza, a 34-year-old man working at a Sunnyvale office complex. Esparza was caught by surprise, and Carrington executed him with chilling precision. She later claimed she killed him because he was in her way, a cold admission that reflected the calculated nature of her actions. Her killing spree continued in February 1992 when she targeted another unsuspecting victim, 36-year-old commercial real estate agent Alan Ostaszewski. He was lured to his office under false pretenses and murdered in cold blood. Carrington's pattern was becoming clear: eliminate witnesses, steal valuables, and flee. But her recklessness left a trail of evidence that would eventually catch up to her. Carrington's modus operandi didn't stop at murder. She was adept at using her position as a janitor to gain access to offices and bypass security systems. Once inside, she would steal cash, credit cards, and electronics, selling them to sustain her lifestyle. The murders, however, brought a level of attention she had not anticipated. Investigators began piecing together the clues left behind: fingerprints, witness accounts, and ballistics evidence linking the murders to the same weapon. Her final known murder was that of Peggy Wood, a 29-year-old employee of a San Carlos company. Wood's death was brutal, and the loss devastated her family and colleagues. By this point, law enforcement agencies were on high alert, coordinating efforts to track down the person responsible for these heinous crimes. Carrington's downfall was as swift as her rise to infamy. Detectives identified her through forensic evidence, and her connection to the crime scenes became undeniable. She was arrested in March 1992, bringing an end to her spree of violence. During her trial, Carrington showed little remorse, a detail that left jurors and the public stunned. The prosecution painted her as a manipulative and cold-hearted killer who preyed on her victims for personal gain. The evidence against her was overwhelming, and in 1994, Celeste Carrington was convicted of 3 murders and multiple counts of robbery. The court sentenced her to death, a verdict that reflected the gravity of her crimes. She became one of the few women on California's death row, her name forever tied to a legacy of greed and violence. Today, Celeste Carrington remains on death row at the Central California Women's Facility. Her case is a haunting reminder of how greed, anger, and a lack of empathy can transform a person into a killer. In the quiet aftermath of her crimes, the communities she terrorized continue to grapple with the loss and fear she left behind. Carrington's story, though largely forgotten, lingers in the shadows of California's criminal history.